Hey there, my name's Taylor, and this is a recap of the TNC Tuesday Night Crit B race from April 15th. Normally I do a commentary on the C race, but my camera didn't work, so this time I'm doing the B race. And another reason I normally don't do the B race is that I'm not normally able to hang with the pack because I try hard in the C race and then just do a workout for the B race. But this time around, I managed to hang with the pack the whole time, so I figured I would do some commentary on this one instead. I also have footage from my brother, so right now you're looking at mine. This is Taylor Cam right here, and then I can switch over, and this is Rusty Cam right here. My brother, unfortunately, during this race, right before when we were warming up, actually before the C race, his rear derailleur cable snapped. So he was already in the hardest gear, so he was stuck in the hardest gear the whole time. Technically, he still had the front derailleur working, so he could, switch between the big ring and the little ring up front. He had two gears, but basically he did both the C race and the B race in a single speed, and so his strategy was to tail gun, sit at the back, and put in big efforts when necessary. Back to me, so I had all my functioning gears, and my strategy was to try to be in the middle of the pack, which is what my strategy normally is. Right now I'm not doing a great job at that, as you can see, but today we had a little bit different wind than normal. When we were driving to the race, my brother and I were joking that the wind is always out of the south and it's always between like 10 and 20 miles an hour. And if you remember from a couple weeks ago, we had some really crazy strong wind out of the south. This week, it's kind of from the east or the north a little bit. So right now, we're getting a little bit across, and then we're turning into a headwind right here, which is very unusual to have a headwind on this portion of the course. Also, the wind wasn't very fast, so just like maybe 5 or 10 miles an hour at the really blusteriest part. But yeah, there wasn't much wind to contend with, and this is a really easy crit course. It's not a four-corner crit exactly. There's a little chicane in there that we just went around, but there's no like hills, there's no technical corners. It's really wide, smooth pavement the whole time, which is great. But what that means is that when there's no wind to like force a selection to happen, the whole pack just kind of rides together the whole time, which is what happened for us both in the C race and here in the B race. It turned into like a group ride for the whole race, which was very unusual and kind of unsettling, honestly. I kept waiting for a break to happen and it never did. And frequently I would be like surging to try to catch up with the group because I thought they were getting away, and then basically everyone would sit up and be on breaks. So like right now, boom, you see a bunch of people standing up, they're pushing super hard, they're taking off here with a tailwind, and I'm like trying to keep up. I'm doing, maybe 300 watts if I'm being generous, but like my thought was like, okay, well I can let, the front group get away and I'll be in the chase group. So I'm just trying to not fall off the back, which I'm doing. You can see in the rear view up there, there's still riders behind me. And, yeah, I'm losing a bunch of wheels, but I'm fine with that. And if we switch over to my brother's view, he doesn't have a rear camera, but I'm assuming he's like fully at the back of the race. And he can't even see me. There's so many riders in this race that I was like toward the front and just let a bunch of people pass me. But it's all good, still hanging in there. And this was my strategy, I guess you could say, is like, I'm not trying to stay at the front of the race. I'm just trying to not fall off the back. And my brother, basically trying to stay at the back. And then if he sees people falling off the back, like this rider 321 right there, you can see he goes around them because he doesn't want to be like actually falling off the back of this race. He just wants to be right at the back as the caboose for the tail gunning, I guess. I don't know why I'm explaining tail gunning. Most of y'all probably already know what that is. Anyway, back to my camera. So we're going around the chicane again. We got the headwind here, and I'm doing 400 watts into the wind. I've got bike length or more in front of me. That's my brother right there on the right. So when I see him come up in my periphery, I think, okay, well, I'm now at the back and I don't want to fall off the back, so I need to try a little harder to push and catch back up with the rest of the group. So clearly I'm not really doing that right now, but there's also not much opportunity for me. You can see that there's 4 or 5 riders across, and how am I going to get around them? And even if I do get around those, like there's just so many riders in front of me. The best I can do is latch on to the wheel of the person in front of me and just roll with it, which is what I'm doing here. So we're picking up more than a lap later here, and you can see it's just my brother behind me, so I'm basically at the back. And the whole group is more strung out than they were earlier. This is 2 riders wide most of the way up. And switching back to my brother's view, you can see me there on the left in the green kit on the green bike. And if you look up ahead, you can see like, yeah, it's kind of spread out, but it's a 2 wide column of riders. It's not single file. So nobody's really, you know, going crazy. And we just turned into the wind here, so it's probably gonna bunch up. And I don't know, I need to make a move to get up, like gain some wheels, because hanging on the back is dangerous for me, because that means putting in big efforts when the whole group accordions, which doesn't play to my strengths, which are few. My strength is basically do like a, you know, time trial style effort and just hope for the best at the end, which isn't much of a strategy. But yeah, I really like, again, what I mentioned before, there's not much opportunity even for anything to happen here. Like maybe I could squeeze up a few wheels on the left by trying to like cut into this corner and push people to the outside. But you know, that feels like maybe I'm begging for a crash or something like that. Also shout out to, I think this is Nick here on the right, the rider I talked about last week, and happy to see him doing well in this race. I think we'll see Luke, who was the other rider I talked about last week as well, at another point in this video. But yeah, so I'm, you know, trying to move up on the right, but there's not a whole lot of room, and you know, I don't want to do anything dicey, so maybe I need to be more aggressive, especially in the B race. But you know, ultimately my goal here is to not crash and finish the race. So I'd rather lose a few wheels than, you know, rub shoulders with somebody. And yeah, I mean, it didn't slow up too much into the wind, and we're in the tailwind section now, but yeah, it's still just like, I didn't really know what to do with this race, because normally when it's all bunched up like this, when we turn into the wind, something happens. Like somebody, you know, makes a break for it, or people start falling off the back. Oh, hey, something weird happened there. I'm just gonna shout out Luke there, but there he is again on the left. Yeah, normally when we turn into the wind, like something happens. It gets shaken up, somebody falls off the back, people go off the front, something. But there's, I'm not sure, I think that might have been Marcelo that we just passed on the right. I'm not sure what happened to him in this race, actually. If anybody knows, please leave something in the comments. I'd be curious. I didn't get it. He was too far ahead on the footage, or in the peloton, for me to catch it on my footage. But yeah, sorry, what I was saying was, like, I don't know what to do in this situation. I'm not strong enough to, like, you know, make a big move from the back here. And even if I was, like, I don't think it would stay off the front. There's enough strong riders in this group that somebody would try to bring me back. So I'm just trying to sit in and see where this takes me, but also, like, I'm feeling anxious riding in the middle of this pack. I don't want to be, I mean, I always talk about wanting to be in the middle of the pack, so like this is really good positioning for me, but I don't want to be in here for like 30 minutes. That's crazy. Something needs to happen. So here's a rider going on the right, trying to make a move through the chicane, and I was basically toward the back when he went around me. So like, this is trying to go from the back all the way to the front, and it looks like he made it. He's off the front now. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, okay, great. So now some of the strong riders are gonna go off the front and try to chase this guy down. And somehow I find myself like gliding to the front here. You can see I'm doing 250 watts. So this isn't like a big effort, and I'm not a super strong rider. So I'm finding myself at the front here and thinking, well, this is weird. Obviously there are these riders to the left of me. There's that guy who went off the front, but like, I shouldn't be at the front of the group here. Why is everybody just hanging behind me? And my brother and I actually talked about this exact situation on the way to the race, where like being in the front isn't bad necessarily, but you don't want to be like, I don't want to be pulling on the front. I want to be up here just doing what I would normally be doing for like a solo time trial effort. And if people want to stay behind me, great. And I'm doing more power than I probably should here with like the 300-ish watts. This is like a tiny little uphill around that corner, so it's probably just not intentional on my part. But you know, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, I don't really want to be here, but if people want to sit behind me while I do 200 watts, that's perfectly fine by me. And I'm surprised at how long I'm on the front, and then boom, this guy like rockets around me on the left. So somebody got tired of sitting behind me, and I think now that there's two people off the front, some other strong riders start responding, so there goes a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and it's like, okay, now at this point I'm going to get swarmed. And I need to do more watts than I was doing when I was just chilling on the front, because the whole peloton's going to go around me and I don't want to fall off the back, which is crazy to like within the course of half a lap go from the back of the pack to like accidentally on the front and then back to the back of the pack. And if we switch over to my brother's view, you can actually see me there. So he's the back, he's the caboose, and yeah, I just went from the back to the front to the back. I don't understand it. Nothing like this has happened to me before. I mean, I haven't been doing crit races all that long. This is like the beginning of year 2 or 3 for me, so I haven't done a bunch, but like this was just an unusual day. I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I think the guys off the front got chased down. Everybody's back together again. But one thing I wanted to mention were these lap times. They are crazy. So you can see the fastest lap was 2:18. That was lap number 4. But then like the slow lap was 2:42. And then another fast lap at 2:21. So again, normally I do commentary for the C race rather than the B race. So this is Cat 3.4 instead of Cat 4.5. But even so, like these are really fast laps, especially for the whole group being together. Like normally for me, if I were doing a lap by myself, it would take me like best case probably 2:45, maybe 2:50. And normally when I'm riding with the group, it'll be like, 2:30 something. So we're going significantly faster than that. And you can't necessarily tell just from the footage, but looking at my stats after the fact, most of these laps I had really low average power. I think one of them I averaged 25 miles an hour for the whole lap, and that same lap averaged 170 watts, which is crazy. That's like Z1 effort basically. It's crazy. So yeah, this is a fast-moving group. There's no wind. It's all stuck together, and when I'm positioned correctly, that means that I don't have to spend a lot of effort to go super fast. In fact, I think it was either this or the other race I set a like personal best on Strava for my 20K time, which meaningless because it's just like getting carried along by this group, but interesting nonetheless. So I see an opportunity here to move up on the right a little bit, but then I get caught behind, I think that's Matt in front of me. Shout out Matt with the titanium bike. The thing is awesome. And there were a couple times in this race where I tried to do that, where I'm like, okay, well, there's a little bit of a window here to move up on the right, but like I said earlier, I'm just not aggressive enough to really like dive into those spaces and force people to make room for me, which seems to be kind of what I would have had to have done to make that strategy work. But it's okay. Happy to be behind Matt, kind of in the middle of the group here. If we switch over to my brother's view, you can see he's still chilling on the back, and like not much has changed really the past couple laps. He's still back there. I'm in the middle of the group, so you can't see me from this view, but pack is still together, nobody's off the front, and it's all just moving fast and hanging together. So there's like this little move going up the right side with Matt up there and this Cadence rider who I don't know. And they kind of get boxed out in the same way that I did, just a moment ago, where we are trying to move up on the outside, but somebody closes it off. Not surprising, but it's just, I think the name of the game for this week was nobody letting any moves happen. And so here I think that same thing happens to me again, where I wasn't at the back this time, kind of in the middle, but I'm just like coasting basically, letting my inertia carry me up to the front. And I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, where I'm like trying to hold, a reasonable power output, 250, 270, something like that. And if people want to stay behind me, that's fine. But yeah, so I'm just gonna do this off the front, switch to my brother's view. So this is the back of the race. You can see it's like super wide. I don't even know, 5-6 riders across, going into this corner here across the into the start finish. And yeah, it's, just like, oh shit, there it is. I knew there was a crash, I didn't know where it was. I don't know how somebody went down there. I got like a tiny smidge of it on the rear camera for my view as well, but if you have footage from that, please let me know. I would love to see what actually happened there. I think some rider in red went down, and then 2 or 3 other riders got caught up in the crossfire, so to speak. But yeah, that's wild. And one of the downsides of or what I'm afraid of constantly when we're riding in a big pack like that, going around a corner, is something like that going to happen? Is somebody going to hook bars or rub shoulders, or just something weird happen? So I hope everybody that was involved in that crash is okay. It's always scary to see a crash happen. I'm glad that, you know, I was in front of it, my brother was behind it, neither of us got caught up in it, so I feel thankful for that. But yeah, I mean, there's only a few more laps left in this race, so that was kind of like a split of this race, obviously, like, you know, people behind the crash or people in front of it. And for the people that were behind it, they really got to work to catch back up. And like, I'm struggling to hang on, and I was at the front. And you can see my brother is there in my rear view, so he's grabbed onto my wheel, and, you know, I'm aware of him back there, so I know that I'm on the back. But kudos to him for like managing to close that gap after basically stopping behind that crash. And then, you know, after this work to catch up, it's like, oh, well, okay, we're right back where we were, where there's just a big clump of riders, and we're rapidly, you know, going into the back of this group. So we caught back up after the crash and keep riding along with the group. So my brother goes around me there, and we're coming into the start finish, and this is the bell lap, last lap. And the pace has really picked up. So you can see I'm doing 30 miles an hour. This is the tailwind section, and I am just losing places here. I'm trying to hang on and failing. I just don't have a lot in the tank left at this point after doing the C race and, you know, 12/13ths of this race. The best I can manage is like around 300 watts to try to hang on to the back of this group, and it is just not working for me. I'm losing places, dropping wheels. And there's this rider behind me. I forget who that was, but I think he closes the gap to me, and then he says something about like, you know, it's now or never, basically. You gotta dump the tank to try to catch back on. And I know that he's right, so I see him pulling in front of me, and I think, okay, well, I gotta latch on to him. That'll make my job easier, but I don't even have the energy to do that. So I watch him kind of get away from me. I mean, it's only like a bike length or two right now, but I know that I'm not closing this gap. I don't have the power for it right now. So at this point, I'm thinking like, well, there's still half a lap left, but I don't really see myself doing well in the rest of this race. So I'm just going to try to keep the wheels down and, you know, chug through the finish line here. But he's still in sight. You know, he's not really getting away from me, but he's not gaining on the pack either. So I know, like, even if I catch up to him, I'm not going to be able to catch up to the pack in front of him, especially with only a quarter of a lap left now. And so now my, you know, morale is really tanking, and I'm thinking, well, do I really want to, you know, completely wear myself out just to stay in the same place? Like, you know, I can't really see anybody in front of me or behind me at this point, so I figure there's not really much point in trying. So I would switch to my brother's camera because it would be much more interesting than mine, but his camera died pretty soon after the crash, unfortunately. So you're stuck with this view of me just kind of limping into the finish line. I really, you can tell here, just like gave up on this race. I figured nobody in front of me, nobody behind me, there's no point. I'm just gonna do 200 watts into the finish line, take it easy basically. Maybe not the best, most sporting idea. Normally I like to sprint across the finish line even if it's just for myself, but I don't know, something about this race made me not want to do that. However, I think there's going to be somebody coming up in my rear cam. Yeah, so somebody decided to really do a sprint here and just surge past me right at the finish line, boom. And then I think that's Nick right there. So both of them, kudos for actually trying to the end of the race, unlike me. And yeah, once again, I hope everybody was okay from the crash. I had a good time racing out there today, both in the C and the B race. The weather was great, and I hope to see everyone out next week. Hopefully no more crashes, fingers crossed.